needs that are being that are directly being influenced by this economy. That's the reason why it's such a very important part of the Thailand economy. Let's look at the vehicles. There's quite a lot of brands being introduced right now. This is a Japanese brand, Mazda, Nissan, Toyota. This is a Chinese brand, BYD, and this is a European BMW, who are actually starting to get into the market now. Environmental factors, there's quite a lot of environmental pressure with regards to electrical vehicle usage because of course, the traffic brings about a very, very congested atmosphere in Bangkok, and therefore, in certain days in Bangkok, we actually exceed the health limit standard of 100 ppg. So that's actually quite unhealthy. So the government actions with regards to this is that the government is actually promoting companies that produce electric vehicle. You can see here that in terms of electric vehicle, the standard excise tax is 10% for vehicles. And you can see that for plug-in hybrids and batteries, it's actually less than 10%. And in battery, it's even very less, it's about just 2%. Let's look at charging infrastructure. The study also tried to look at charging infrastructure. And as of March 2017, last year, and even up to now, we are actually just seeing this, all of this is the charging station, it's just 29. So there's only 29 charging stations all over in the whole of Thailand as of middle of last year. And now it actually hasn't increased that much. So if you're going to buy an electric vehicle, the main problem really is where are you going to charge it when nobody is currently making charging stations at the moment. And this is just it's in describing the study, but this is just to give you a very quick overview because of the time limit I have. It's a quick overview of the different factors that are involved with regards to Thailand economy, politics, social changes, technology, economy are all coming into factor with regards to this vehicle usage. So in fact, it's quite complicated. So where do we start now? And again, just to give to highlight the whole thing is that the level of EV adoption is still very low. In fact, the hybrid vehicles was introduced in Thailand since 2009. That's nearly 10 years ago. But then we're looking at only 84,000, which is less than 1% of the vehicles actually being bought and used in the country. And as of last year, there was only 63 fully battery electric vehicles that are operating. So it's not really not working in Thailand right now. So the study then is actually how can electric vehicles then be updated? Is what kind of factors are quite important with regards to this technology. And this is the methodologies. We tried to conduct a desk review. We designed and developed the AHP model. We made some surveys and interviews with focus group to verify the AHP model. We summarized and we concluded. So the first thing required by the AHP is actually to define the level 0 criteria. And as I mentioned earlier, these are actually based on the market studies that are referenced. Based on the study, it's defined as vehicle performance, government incentive, financial benefits, demographics, and personality of the buyers as important factors. And then these are all the level 1 criteria defined in terms of performance. Different sub-criteria have been defined here. Vehicle performance in terms of government incentives and policies. These are the different various level 1 criteria. You can see here, and these are now inputted into the AHP model. And we can see after running conducting the survey on focus groups, we have found out that in terms of the decision-making model, that there's factors that are considered important by the focus group, and that is vehicle performance, the financial aspects, and then the government incentive are considered to be based on this decision model are the important factors that are influencing this one. And okay, in terms of the AHP, we then try to get into deeper in terms of the different level 1 criteria, buyer demographics, the income is the main factor. In terms of the vehicle performance, safety issues, and the reliability, surprisingly, are the main factor here. In terms of financial benefits, the lower maintenance costs. Government policies is the tax incentives, and also the charging station incentives, still very much a concern. And in terms of owner personalities, the environmental awareness is considered to be important. So therefore, the results of the studies is that based during the course of the study, we have found out that we tried to look at commercialization studies in different countries. So we benchmark what's they're doing in Norway. We tried to look at what they were doing in Germany, what they were doing in China, and that's when we tried to use here. We studied the Thai environment, and we actually have gained a deeper understanding of the situation. We make the decision model, we apply the technique, and then the results is we get an ever more detailed understanding of the situation in Thailand. So the areas for further study is that we then, of course, we need deeper, more focused investigation once more, and then actually to expand and widen the scope of application to include wider span of technology commercialization process. So in a very quick few minutes is how I will describe the study that was conducted.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. Let's pass our comments. Let me ask Dr. Thana first to give the first suggestion from Dr. Thana. Do you have any comments on this presentation and research?
I'm not sure the objective of this work. You revise the objective in the first attempt, define a structure and decision-making model. I'm not sure you describe the decision-making model for this work.
The decision-making model, the one chosen was the AHP, analytic hierarchy process. It's actually a model that was compared with 4 other different decision-making models. If I can make I can show you. So here, we actually, during the start of the study, is that we tried to look at 4 different types of decision-making model, the AHP, a multi-criteria decision-making analysis, Bayesian analysis, and Monte Carlo simulation. So we did a consulting with my advisor and 2 others, Dr. Ganon and Dr. They explained to me the differences between the different problem-solving techniques. So Bayesian analysis is more on the machine learning type of a thing, where we already know the different factors and try to find probabilities. So in terms of Bayesian analysis, we already know the different outcomes and try to find which probability, what happens. Monte Carlo simulation is also similar, is we already know the different models. And then these are the different factors, and factor 1, 2, 3, if we combine, we'll come up with outcome 1, outcome 2, and outcome 3. So in terms of the different these two, then it was we already know what we're talking about, and then try to make the simulation based on different mathematical models. But we're not into that situation yet. So we then try to look at AHP and multi-criteria decision making. The difference between these two is analytic hierarchy process was a more structured approach. It was actually developed by a mathematician, Dr. Sati. And his approach then is actually much more, you say, more mathematical in terms of modeling. And that was the reason why then we started to do the study in terms of making the model based on using analytic hierarchy process. And in terms of the study, the main issue then is how do we define the criteria? That's the main modeling is how to define the different criteria involved so that we can then eventually make the study. And in terms of the model, it's quite straightforward. The formula for this AHP is just putting the different factors in a matrix, and then it actually calculates by itself. So I cannot go deeper into the model because it's quite a formula by itself. But it's just two formulas actually involved by the and that's the reason why this study was used for the whole.
Can I ask you further
Sure.
about ASP method? I think for this one that should be suitable for the engineering management or managerial engineering. If you for this field, it should be best. Plus, this time you study information technology. I cannot say that the linkage between IT and ASP in your field because at first I come here and I thought that it should be to show IT and to be applied in your research. But for this thing, you show the method of ASP, right? And show the base factor of the EV.
Yes.
Yes. I cannot imagine for the IT field that you studied before and how you apply IT in your research.
I fully understand what you're saying.
Yes.
In fact, when we were doing the study, I actually had the same. I had the same doubt. Is this an IT problem then, or is this information technology? So when I dig deeper, it's actually you can see in terms of the list of references that the AHP application is actually done in information technology. Yes. Yes. So that's the reason why in terms of references, there are actually two patterns that I used here in the study, and that was actually done in an information technology. It's a master's thesis as well, and then it's references. And the application of AHP is actually done not by industrial engineers, but IT person. So I had the same concern as you had, and that's why I actually tried to find quite a lot of references, whether this really is an IT problem or not.
Because this is a part I concern as well, because maybe other people ask you as well, because they cannot see your linkage between your study and your field that you graduate.
Yes. And actually, one other thing that actually convinced me with regards to this study is that after now the analytic hierarchy process in which we found the different factors that are important. So here, now that we have, I think we have identified these three factors there, then we can actually go into further study and try to design exactly which are the individual performance, exactly which government incentives are more relevant. So this I would consider the AHP then is like the basis or the foundation in order to further study the whole thing using different mathematical models. And even you can use like machine learning with the Bayesian or non-power simulation.
Okay. Can I go deeper? For the priorities, you guess how to get the data? You get the data from expert interview or can you use a show?
Yes, The data was obtained by, actually it's we did a survey, and it's a survey of experts, and
Which your expertise to provide is the
yes, okay, I can increase that more. But the different experts are actually at there's 9 people that I interviewed, and they are all connected in the automotive industry. We have 2 managing directors, 3 purchasing, 2 government, and 2 the business development. And then the survey, actually, the survey form is at the back, and then using the AHP questions, and then a summary was then made, and then they were asked the same thing again, whether it's valid or not.
Because the point of the research, I think it should be get the correct data. If you got the data from the normal people, prospectively, you have a problem because the findings of the ASP, you have to get the criteria right. This factor is good, this factor is bad, something like this. If you get the data from not expertise people, then we have a problem. Okay, you go in the right ways. I agree with you. 9 people, right? That's enough. Because we cannot get more expertise in the field. I understand, right?
That's true. That's correct.
At least 7 people, that's okay. You go in 9 people, that's good. Another one question. Sorry, I asked you a lot because I'm not familiar with the ASP. I try to understand you. For the last chapter, finding and conclusion, I saw only the text. You give the text only, but that should be good if you can show me more like graphics. Graphic summaries, because you're showing text that's that's not clear as well for other people. It should be shown like summaries, graphics in yes, summary graphic, and then show which one is the important factor, so that's easy to other people to talk up to you as your research. With further study. That's gives my idea.
Yes, I understand.
Because I saw in the summary you lost for this thing. I think that's all. That's good for your research. I appreciate that because in your field, I think near future Thailand will be changed from traditional car to be EV, right? Electric car. And government for now we lost for the important factor to make the right decision to switch from the old car to be the EV car. Yes. This one should be good and can be applied to the government's policy later.
Well, thank you very much, sir. I'll try to increase the conclusion to be more graphic.
Anything else? So.
No, the eigenvector actually, the Dr. Sawad was already asking me, can you apply the different formulas now with regards to the whole thing? I admitted that actually I did touch the eigenvectors and the limits when I was in college, but right now there's a program that's already being used now to just input the factors. So I cannot do it by hand. So I have to admit I cannot do the formula myself.
suggestion in the chapter 5 is in the future of it and problem in this and the topic in chapter 5.
Yes.
Yes, let's meet some of these your research. My evaluation is very good. Nice. Appreciate your presentation. I know as you have a short time for the research and you get a lot of value. Then should be like good contribution to Thai country as well. Thanks for the information. Thanks for your research data. That should be give more opportunity for my country to be see the good option for the EV in the future.
Thank you very much.
One question. In the future, you want to is dissertation for next continue.
Doctorate.
What? I see two. Promise.
It's in consideration.